Now, the government is being accused of backtracking on commitments to pay compensation to British victims of terror attacks overseas. Legislation passed under the Labour government last year paved the way for a new payment scheme, but campaigners fear the plans have now been shelved. British survivors of terrorist attacks abroad, like that in Mumbai in 2008, have long campaigned for the same compensation awarded to victims of incidents on British soil. They cheered last April's crime and security bill, which promised to deliver just that, plus offer one-off payments to those who suffered attacks overseas since 2002. But now the policy is under review.
37 survivors of terrorist attacks abroad were written to and informed that they would be eligible to claim. Sadly, however, the change in government has delayed this somewhat, and the picture is a little unclear at the moment. Families are unclear as to where exactly we are heading on this.
No one from the Ministry of Justice was available for interview today. A spokesperson told us the government believes support should be offered to the most seriously affected, most vulnerable and most persistently targeted victims of crime, and it aims to make an announcement on the outcome of the review of victims' services by the end of July. Well, we're joined now by Will Pike, who you saw there, one of those seeking compensation from the government. He was left paralysed after trying to escape from his smoke-filled hotel room during the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. Will Pike, you were given a settlement.
To a degree, yes.
The last government promised you what?
Yeah, myself and 37 other victims of terrorism from overseas were all written a letter. There's only 37 other people who are known. Signed by Secretary of State Tessa Jowell, Jack Straw, acknowledging that there had been a gross loophole in the system for X amount of years, and that we would be awarded ex gratia payments that would look to compensate in a sort of retrospective sense. Obviously, the term retrospection is so, you have to tread so carefully around it because they don't want to set precedents. But the ex gratia payments were considered legal and a way of honouring the change of law that had taken place last year.
Did they identify the exact sums you would get?
We always knew that it was going to be capped in line with the current criminal injuries compensation scheme, which at a maximum is about £500,000. It may sound like a lot, but for a lifelong spinal injury such as mine, that's maybe a third or a quarter what I might receive had I been in a car accident and received a sort of insurance payout.
But that would have been at least sort of equality with what happens if things like this were to transpire in Britain.
Absolutely. I mean, parity would have been restored to some extent.
So what are you being told now?
Nothing. And this is the problem. I mean, we've been very unlucky, obviously, from the moment we were caught up in the attack. But last April, when the law was actually changed after a couple of years of campaigning, and that's on top of the campaigning done by lots of other people from, say, Bali and Sharm el-Sheikh. Obviously, general election, new government, summer recess, nothing happens. We get back to sort of September, October time, and we're told by the Ministry of Justice just to sit tight, that the Treasury are reviewing all spending, and that our issue essentially was now grouped with this bigger spending review, which we felt was completely unjust, but we empathised with the new government and situation, and we sat tight. And then we were just sort of stonewalled, really. Every time we tried to get in contact, civil servants just kind of fobbed us off.
But this is extraordinary, because one would imagine that one government stating how much you were going to get would therefore that would be it.
I mean,
so retrospectively, this government is trying to change the law. Yeah?
Well, they're setting their own precedent, which is ironically absurd. I mean, the whole thing is absolutely a disrespect. And when you talk to people on a one-to-one level about what's happened, very few people can actually believe that the British government, the British people would be in this situation, would be in this loophole whereby an attack on the state, which it was. I mean, it was acknowledged that the targets in Mumbai and were there because of British and American civilians. So that was acknowledged, and then to be then caught up in this sort of wrangle over kind of penny pinching here, and can we change the law there? And you have no
definite date when you will hear?
Well, as you saw in the there was an adjournment debate today, and Crispin Blunt, the minister, who was present, who I had a personal meeting with, who is fully backing our case. So he tells us. I have to say, did slightly dither. He suggested that. before summer recess we would hear something. So we're looking at July 19th as getting a firm date now.
And in short, do you need the money?
Of course. I mean, we're looking at lifelong needs. I mean, it's impossible to predict what circumstances I'm going to have to face. I mean, the ongoing medical needs over the next 50, 60 years, that's what this covers. This isn't like a sort of, oh, well, you've suffered, here's £500,000, jolly good. It's not about that. This is about actual medical costs and expenses.
Will Pike, thank you very much indeed for coming in.